Welcome to today's forum. Our topic this afternoon affects how each of us does business. Whether our business is a public or private company, politics, manufacturing, publishing, or a nonprofit agency, we are all paying much more attention to attracting and maintaining customers who represent a broad range of diversity. Our discussion leader for this topic is the publisher of Outlook Media. Please welcome Michael Daniels. Joining Michael on our panel are Courtney Kerrigan, Director of Program Development at the YWCA, Victoria Nunez, Community Affairs Director at Fifth Third Bank, and Megan Weimerskirch, Advertising Director at 614 Magazine. Please take a look at the forum flyer for more information on each of our panelists, and let's welcome them to CMC.
Thank you, Teresa.
See your turn.
Thank you all for coming out this afternoon. I'm incredibly happy to have this panel of ladies up here with me. In fact, all week long I've been referring to the four of us as the ladies who lunch. For those of you who don't know, it's an inside joke because we publish Outlook and we're the gay magazine in town. So, and part of what we'll be talking about is a variety of different diverse markets. The original title of this presentation was not Success Embraces Diverse Audiences, but rather it was White Bread Thinking Doesn't Cut It. And therefore, all of the subsequent slides will have little wheat in the background to remind you of that. All right. Before we start, I want to make two key assumptions. First of all, I want to assume that everybody in this room has customers and that everybody in this room wants to sell them something. How many people in this room are in sales? The rest of you are all fired. The answer is you're all in sales. Everybody has something. Everybody has a customer, and everybody wants to sell that customer something, whether that's a membership in a nonprofit organization, you're a candidate and you want someone to vote for you, you are an accountant in a very large corporation, but you want your boss to adopt a new system that you're trying to implement. So I want you to put yourself in that mindset of the fact that everybody has customers, everybody wants to sell them something, and in order to do that, in order to reach out to those folks, you need to understand who they are and where they are. So there are a variety of different things that are sort of demographics in disguise. We got census data, we have media market data, we have more data than we can possibly shake a stick at. In fact, I was a little bit intimidated when I got the notes the other day because my personal hero on exactly how to do this is sitting at the head table, Mr. Blackwell. Thank you for the books that you wrote, and thank you for inspiring me to do what I do these days. But what it all boils down to is you have to know who you're selling to, what do your customers look like, and we'll talk about that quite a bit. Where are your customers? Where do they live? Where do they work? Where do they play? And that's going to talk a lot about where you reach them. What motivates and excites your customers? It's probably not the product you're selling. Think about that for a second. What you're selling probably isn't what motivates and excites your customers. No politician excites a voter. Politicians' policies excite voters. And how? Once you know who they are, where they are, and what turns them on, you have to talk about then how you can actually sell them something. So what I want to do is talk about niches and how to reach those. The dictionary definition of a niche is that it's a specialized, profitable corner of the market. It's kind of bland. My definition of a niche is that it's that section of the market where you have absolutely no competition because you hold a unique and valuable position. And it doesn't mean small, it means smart and targeted. Notice there is nothing on any of these slides about location or proximity to your place of business, and there's nothing on these slides about price. If what you offer is sufficiently unique and sufficiently valuable to the people that you're going after, your proximity and your price are no longer factors. It's very seldom about cost. It's always about value. And what I want to talk to you about is how you can make that happen. So what niches exist? Well, the ones that everybody thinks of, and we'll talk about these in fairly extensive detail. But women, African Americans, Hispanics and Latinos, Asians, the GLBT market, and other people based on hobbies, interests, organizations, stages in life. First-time homebuyers, newlyweds, expectant moms, OSU fans, left-handed people, people who like to fly fish, left-handed pregnant moms who like to fly fish. These are all niches, okay? And then the one niche here in Columbus that everybody always forgets to talk about, so here's the shout out to the Jewish community. That's challah. What do these markets mean? I told you, it's not your typical CMC presentation. What do these markets mean? Well, in a national $10 trillion economy, they mean a lot. Women make up about 52% of the population, but they're responsible for spending 80 cents of every dollar. They don't earn 50 cents of every dollar, a problem that Jennifer Bruner and I would like to fix, but they are responsible for making buying decisions wrapped around 80 cents of every dollar. In fact, Kara Ruda, in her book a couple of years ago, suggests that this number is closer to 85 cents of every dollar. But these are national numbers from the University of Georgia. Nationally, African Americans make up about 13% of the population, spend about 11% of the total resources. I apologize for the slides being white. They were originally black. Andy said they couldn't be seen. I don't think those can be seen. But it's about $1.1 trillion in the market. Hispanics nationally, fastest growing demographic in the nation, 16% of the population, comprising about 12% of the spending, or nationwide about $1.2 trillion. Asians, and this is the U.S. Census term for that, which includes the Far East, India, and Pacific Islands, make up about 4% of the population, spending about 7% of the money. And then nationally, the gay and lesbian market makes up about 5% of the population, spending $835 billion, or roughly 8.5% of the spending. So you can kind of see that if you're targeting white guys, you might want to rethink it. You're welcome. No, doesn't mean, it's okay. Some of the white guys are gay. You can target them. Locally, this is what really matters to people. This is what really counts, and this is the local CMH economy, roughly $30 billion. I'm assuming that most people in this room are interested in how to do business in this relatively local $30 billion economy. I'm going to extrapolate these numbers directly from this previous slide with nothing, no magic here. Women make up 52% of the local economy, spend 80 cents of every dollar. It's $24 billion in the local economy. The 2010 census is that African Americans are 21% of the population. Using those numbers, they're spending 18 cents of every dollar, $5.4 billion. Hispanics locally are 5% of the population, controlling about 4% of the spending, $1.2 billion. Once again, the fastest growing demographic in America. Asians locally make up about 4% of the population. They spend about 6.7% of the spending, or about $2 billion. And this is the number that is the reason that I and the whole people at the back table there have a job. The GLBT community is roughly 15% of the Columbus metropolitan area. Extrapolated from the previous numbers, it means that we're responsible for 25 cents of every dollar, or $7.5 billion in the local economy. So, in Columbus, green is pink. And if you want to know more about that, there's a whole group of people at the back table that'll tell you a whole lot more about that. Where do people live? We've seen a lot of heat map demographics in the Columbus Dispatch recently. talking about where people are moving to and where people are moving from within the city. I want to talk about where specific niche markets live, and these are based on those same data. These are heat maps. I apologize for how hard they are to read, but this is the African American population in the Columbus metropolitan area. The darker the area, the higher the concentration, and these are divided out by zip code. This doesn't surprise anybody, the highest concentration of African Americans on the northeast and northeast sides. The Hispanic population with heavy concentrations on the south and west sides. Again, anybody who lives in Columbus, this shouldn't come as a big surprise to you. The Asian population is fairly well distributed throughout the city. And the GLBT population, and I have to qualify this is not where gay people live, this is where people who read Outlook magazine live. And this is the disclaimer, because getting numbers on the GLBT market is extremely difficult because the census doesn't ask the question. They did, for the first time under the Obama administration, say that if I checked male and that the other person in the household was my spouse and that person was male, they did count us as a gay couple for the first time. The Bush administration said that's not possible, you're just two single guys living in the same house. Having said that, single gay people still don't get counted because there's just not a checkbox. In fact, there are no checkboxes on anything. We're actually working with the Columbus City Council to get the Civil Service Commission to actually put a box on the form. You're free to check or not check. You are also free to check or not check your gender, your race, your income, and all those other kinds of things. But what you can see here is this is sort of the map that you should expect. It doesn't really surprise anybody, except perhaps for the gay numbers out on the east side, but that has a lot of overlap to do with the fact that Outlook has a good proportion of readers among the African American and the Hispanic communities. There is one thing I want to point out about this map, and then I'll leave all the straight white guys in the room alone, I promise. There's one zip code on this map that's lily white on all four maps. It's Upper Arlington, north of Lane. Is that the Upper Arlington table? Shout out to the Upper Arlington table. Thanks for coming. All right, so now we've talked about some of these niches. I want to talk to you a little bit about ways in which to reach out to these folks. Because again, I said we're going to go back to assume that you all have customers and that you all want to sell them something. Perhaps you all would like to have more customers. And perhaps you would like to sell those new customers something. So let's talk about how you're going to reach those folks. The first thing that I suggest, I missed a slide, is that you focus on reaching them as a niche. The myth that media is dead is just that. It's a myth. Print media is not dead. Television is not dead. Radio is not dead. But print media, television, and radio that try to be all things to all people at all times are dead. You have to focus your message based on niches. Again, this isn't anything new. Mr. Blackwell was telling us to do this 20 years ago. He just had it phrased in a slightly different way. But niche media is important because it gives a voice to those particular communities, because it bridges gaps between those communities and sort of the general population, and it fosters a community and an understanding. A business that advertises directly on Latino radio implicitly says to Latinos, we understand you and we want your business. Someone who advertises on African American television or in gay print, those same kinds of things happen. Niche publications will be around for forever because they're relevant to those communities. They are politically important. They have political